Gut Punched, Alzheimer's, and Caregivers. Navigating the insidious illness of Alzheimer's is something nobody asks for. The disease sneaks up on you and your loved one, and it feels like you've been sucker punched in the gut. Then you ask, where do we turn for help? Who do we call? What do we do? These questions and more are what we hope to answer and give you some direction and hope. Now let's join our host, Jeff Edwards.
Greetings and welcome. This is Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers, the not-so-sexy podcast, episode number 77. There is new information about a drug that might really help. Details coming up. Welcome back. Glad to have you with us. I'm your host, Jeff Edwards, fresh off 2 caregiver meetings in a row, and I can't adequately describe how helpful they are. There is so much information to learn and share with other caregivers, especially from those who have already gone through the journey with their loved one. But they keep coming back to the caregiver meetings to share with us what they learned and how to manage the twists and turns. They are a blessing to all of us. Today, we get into new information about a drug that might really help with Alzheimer's, and a touching but poignant story about when the caregiver dies first. Greetings to our sponsor, Heart, Body, and Mind Home Care, and we'll hear more about them in just a little bit. You know, this wouldn't be Gut Punched if we didn't go over our tenets or rules. Call it what you want. The tenets we follow at Gut Punched, Alzheimer's, and Caregivers are simple. Number 1, you must take care of yourself, because if something happens to you, who is going to take care of your loved one? Number 2, you can't do it alone. You need help. Find good caregiver groups or network with friends or relatives. Number 3, make a list of people, friends, relatives, co-workers who have offered to help in time of need, and then make a list of things you need done but can't do yourself because caregiving duties are overwhelming. And then use the lists. Start at the top, keep going till you get what you need done. You'll find it very helpful. Number 4, create a help signal. Identify a cue or phrase to confirm your loved one is comfortable with receiving help. Number 5, caregiving. Love it or hate it. It will be your life till it's not. So give it your all. You know, if you like what you hear, please subscribe to the podcast. And please leave us a 5-star review. It helps. Help us grow and share this podcast with others who you may know someone who has a family member or friends who are dealing with a loved one who has Alzheimer's or another type of dementia, that you would let them know about this podcast. They may need the information and resources. There is help and hope out there for everyone. You just must know where and how to find it. And that's why we're here. All right, let's do it. Here's a new article from Newsmax written by Dennis Thompson, and it's called Diabetes Drugs May Counter Early Alzheimer's Decline. This is really important, so you might want to give it a listen. 2 widely available diabetes medications appear to safely improve brain health among people with early brain decline. The diabetes drug empagliflozin, or Jardiance, and an insulin nasal spray both showed promising effects on memory, brain health, and blood flow to the brain, researchers recently reported in the journal Alzheimer's and Dementia. Quote, our study suggests that targeting metabolism can change the course of Alzheimer's disease, said senior researcher Suzanne Kraft, director of Wake Forest Alzheimer's Disease Research Center in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. For the first time, we found that empagliflozin, an established diabetes and heart medication, reduced markers of brain injury while restoring blood flow in critical brain regions, she said in a news release. We also confirmed that delivering insulin directly to the brain with the newly validated device enhances cognition, neurovascular health, and immune function, Kraft added. Together, these findings highlight metabolism as a powerful new frontier in Alzheimer's treatment. If validated, these results could address a critical treatment gap in people with Alzheimer's disease. Recently approved drugs that clear toxic amyloid proteins from the brain represent progress, but their benefits are modest, researchers noted. Many patients can't take anti-amyloids due to the side effects, and the drugs also don't address the metabolic and blood vessel problems that are contributing to brain decline, researchers added. For the new trial, researchers recruited 47 seniors with an average age of 70, all of whom had either mild cognitive impairment or early Alzheimer's. The participants were randomly assigned to take insulin nasal sprays, Jardiance, both medications together, or a placebo drug. Jardiance belongs to a class of drugs called SGLT2 inhibitors, which work by preventing the absorption of blood sugar in the kidneys. Instead, excess blood sugar is excreted in urine, helping lower blood sugar levels. Results show that both drugs were safe for the patients, with 97% sticking to their assigned regime through the 4-week trial. However, the drugs showed different benefits. Insulin nasal spray improved performance on tests that detect early memory and thinking changes, researchers reported. Scans show that insulin increased the structural integrity of the white matter that connects different regions of the brain and improved blood flow in memory-critical regions. Meanwhile, Jardiance significantly lowered levels of tau, another toxic protein related to Alzheimer's. The drug also reduced neurochemical and blood vessel markers linked to disease progression, changed blood flow in the key brain regions, and increased levels of good HDL cholesterol. Overall, the changes caused by both drugs suggest that they help activate protective immune responses and reduce harmful inflammation, both of which might support brain health. People with Alzheimer's disease often have insulin resistance in their brains, along with blood vessel problems that limit the flow of oxygen and nutrients to brain cells. These disruptions also can speed up the accumulation of amyloid plaques and tau tangles, while preventing the brain from clearing the toxic proteins. Quote, "We plan to build on these promising results with larger, longer studies in people with early and preclinical Alzheimer's disease," Kraft said, because Jardiance or intranasal insulins improve tau tangles, cognition, neurovascular health, and immune function. And we believe these treatments could offer real therapeutic potential, either on their own or in combination with other Alzheimer's therapies. Because both drugs are already approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, we know them as FDA, for diabetes and other conditions, they could reach patients with declining brain health faster than brand new drugs would, researchers added. Whoa, they're making some progress here. Very interesting article. Again, it was called "Diabetes Drugs May Counter Early Alzheimer's Decline."
We'll be right back to Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
We would like to welcome Heart, Body, and Mind Home Care, a nationally award-winning company. Heart, Mind, and Body Home Care. Service is their passion. Excellence is their promise. Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's care specialists, Heart, Mind, and Body Home Care, are now located in Lee, Charlotte, and Collier counties. You can find them on the web, hbmhomecare.com, or you can call them at 239-603-6455. And you'll find a link for them on our website, which is gutpunch.com. Heart, Body, and Mind Home Care, a very, very good company, and they're really great people. Check them out.
This is Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
I found this next piece while I was looking through different caregiver groups around the country, around the world actually, and it came from someplace in Australia. But the story grabbed me, and it makes an impact. And I think if you listen to the end, you'll understand why we do rules, why we have our tenets, why we sometimes joke about them, but they're very important. And this is called When the Caregiver Dies First. You know, it's a story for all dementia caregivers and those who still don't ask, what about you? Elaine was 64 years old, a wife, a quiet force, the kind of caregiver who never called herself one. She simply loved, adapted, and kept going. Her days were shaped around her husband Ron's needs, the medications, the moods, the appointments, the gentle redirection when confusion crept in. She knew the rhythms of his dementia better than any chart could capture. She was his anchor, his interpreter, his safety. And then, without warning, she was gone. A sudden medical event. No time to prepare. No backup plan. No one had checked in. Ron, living with dementia, woke to a world that no longer made sense. The person who had held his reality together was no longer there to explain it. He wandered, he panicked, he waited for her voice, her touch, her calm. But Elaine did not return. This is not just a tragedy, it's a warning. When a caregiver dies first, the consequences are immediate and profound. The person with dementia may face rapid cognitive decline, emotional trauma, or even physical danger. Families may scramble under pressure, unsure of how to step in, and the system, if it responds at all, often arrives too late. Now, in Australia, approximately 30% of caregivers die before the person they are caring for. And this is not just a number, it's a quiet emergency. It means nearly 1 in 3 caregivers, many of them older spouses or adult children, are dying under the weight of care. Often without warning, often without a plan in place, and often without anyone noticing until it's too late. Imagine the grief one goes through upon a loved one's passing. Now try to imagine going through that as a person with dementia. To put it bluntly, you can't. The cognitive disorientation, emotional distress, and sudden loss of routine can trigger rapid decline. The person may not understand the death, but they feel the absence, they feel a shift, and they wait for the voice that no longer comes. Now, if something were to happen to you, the dementia caregiver, your loved one would have to rely on someone else. Instantly. But who would that be? Perhaps a family member who lives hours away, or a neighbor who's kind but unfamiliar with the daily routine. Maybe a home care provider, if one is available and funded, but how quickly could they be on site? Would they arrive within hours? Or would it take days of coordination, paperwork, and confusion? Would they be willing to step in, and not just for a visit, but to assume the full weight of responsibility? And even if they said yes, could they sustain it? For how long? A weekend? A month? Until the end? And who would pay? Would there be access to support? Would there be enough funding for in-home care, or would residential aged care become the only option? If so, is there a plan in place? Has the person with dementia been assessed for residential care? Is there a power of attorney who can make urgent decisions? Are there legal documents in order? Or would the family be left scrambling, trying to navigate in the middle of a crisis? Now, Elaine's story is a kind of a warning. Ron was left vulnerable, not because people didn't care, but because no one had been prepared to take her place. The care plan lived in Elaine's body, her memory, and her presence. And when she was gone, so was the plan. This is why every caregiver needs a written care plan, not just for the person with dementia, but for themselves. Because when the dementia caregiver disappears, the system collapses. And the person they love most is left to navigate grief, confusion, and danger alone. As uncomfortable as this conversation may be, it must be done. This is one of those things you either do now or take care of later under unbelievable pressure. Later may be too late. Take the time to bring it up. This could be the most important decision you have with your family. Because when the dementia caregiver disappears, everything else begins to unravel. Now, I don't know who wrote this, but I just found it pertinent to what we talk about all the time. You got to take care of yourself. Who's going to take care of your loved one when you're gone? And you can't do it alone. You need help. So you might want to think about that. I sure did.
We'll be right back to Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
In the fight against Alzheimer's, now matters more than ever. Because now we have treatments that could change everything. But now is no time to stop. Now we've got momentum, so now we use it. Now we seize the moment. Now we turn the tide. Now we make a difference and make some noise. Now is the time to get up, get out, and join the movement. At the Alzheimer's Association Walk to End Alzheimer's, held in over 600 communities nationwide. And we need you with us. Because now is the time for hope. Join the fight at alz.org/walk.
This is Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
Just a reminder that the dates for the Alzheimer's Walk for Life in Southwest Florida are Lee County, November 8th, and Collier County, November 22nd. And time is getting short to register. For around the U.S., you can go to alz.org and click the link that will give you the dates and locations for where you can participate. That's a good thing to do. And if you'd like to contribute to Gut Punch, Alzheimer's and Caregivers team for their walk, you can do so by going to Facebook and finding the gutpunch.com page. We would really appreciate it. For more information, you can reach out to the Dubin Center at dubincenter.com. And you can check out the Alzheimer's Support Network at alzsupport.org/about-us. To find your local chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, visit or call their toll-free hotline at 1-800-272-3900. And they have a new resource called Dementia Care Navigation Service, powered by Ripple and the Alzheimer's Association. Caregivers and people living with Alzheimer's or other dementia can access personalized dementia care for free, including a dedicated care navigator and tailored resources. You can call this number, 855-271-2662, to get connected. That's 855-271-2662. Take the first step and contact him. Now, we mention the guide frequently. It's another great resource and provides help and respite care. It's probably easier to just Google it, Edge it, or DuckDuckGo it. Dr. Perry's HealthSpan Partners website is https://healthspansouthwestflorida.com. And check out Gut Punch Alzheimer's and Caregivers group on Facebook. You know, I'd like to thank all those who help and contribute each week to build this podcast. I couldn't do it without you. No way. Our website is gutpunch.com, and the email address is gutpunchedacoutlook.com, or the easy one, jeff@gutpunched.com. Thanks for joining us, and please come back again. God bless.
This has been Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers, with your host, Jeff Edwards. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to us on all the platforms like Spotify, Apple, Pandora, and more. If you have a question or want to get in touch, our email is gutpunchedac@outlook.com.